Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Automotive JT. Today, I thought I'd give you a little health report on three Jeep Gladiators. You know, the Gladiator gets a bad rap, I think. I keep seeing reports about little quirky things, some not quite so quirky, problems with the Jeep Gladiator. So we're going to start with the white Jeep Gladiator right here. This is a 2020 Sport S. It's actually my mother's. She's the one, by the way, that got me started on the Jeep Gladiator. You see, a few years ago, she decided she wanted one, so she bought that white one, which I had, and we traded back. There's a whole long story about that one. If you want to know, check out some of the previous videos. But she has that white Jeep Gladiator right now, 2020 Sport S. And there have been no problems with it. Spot on, runs great, works well, no weird quirky things, no stop-start problems, nothing. So if that had been the first Jeep Gladiator that I ever had, I'd be very impressed with it. No issues. It's even a first model year, brand new trim, brand new vehicle for Jeep. So next up, and I should back up a little bit, my first Jeep Gladiator was a 2020 Sport S in Gobi. And I had a few quirky problems with that. The radio black screen, check engine light, auto stop problem, all just little quirky things that never seemed to get fixed. I actually took it to the dealership complaining about the check engine light, the auto stop thing. And of course, when you first pull up, it's not happening. So they tell me that I should bring it back while it's happening. Well, that'd be great if I happen to just be circling the dealership every day. But could you imagine if you're on a trip and you're a couple hours out and it starts to have a problem, what are you supposed to do? Turn around, drive it back to the dealership so they can see it? I wasn't very impressed. But that's the first one that I had. Now, let's go on to the next one. It is this Jeep Gladiator Mojave. It was actually my mother's first. Again, that whole long story. I had the white one and she has now first or second. But anyway, I'm driving around in the Jeep Gladiator Mojave and it's been pretty solid so far. I haven't had any check engine lights, nothing really strange other than a couple of things. I did have the radio black screen once. I think that's just a function of the radio downloading software. It's the only thing I can attribute it to because I've had that happen in other Mopar products in addition to the Jeep. Ram truck, a regular Jeep Wrangler, just seems to be a thing. When the radio updates, you kind of get a reset, if you will. It's been fine ever since. It happened once, no other issues. It's been spot on, perfect. The only issue I've had with this, and it is a 2021 Mojave, as I mentioned, is a vibration issue. After I had it, or actually as soon as I got it, and I knew this when I got it from my mother, I noticed it was kind of rough idling. When you were at a stop like I am right now, you could just feel it kind of, you know, that feeling. Doesn't really make a noise. So I tried many different things. I cleaned the throttle body, I changed the gas, nothing worked. So then I added a fuel additive, a fuel injector cleaner, something that people have told me the manual says you're not supposed to do. I don't know why, but anyway, I added it, solved the problem. Smoothed right out, ran great for about 2.5, 3 months, something like that. And then it started up again. Just a little bit of rough idle and stop in park or at a stop sign, stoplight, whatever. So I put another bottle in, and I have to say, it's been fine ever since. Again, it's been about 2 months, something like that. Now, a buddy of mine, Randall, you've seen him on this channel, I'm sure. He adds some to his regularly, and I think he's got the right idea because the Jeep Gladiator seems to need a fuel injector cleaner every so often just to run smooth. I'm fully expecting that in another month or so, probably going to have that rough idle again and probably going to have to add another bottle of that fuel injector cleaner. Not something you should have to do, obviously. And one of the reasons I've heard for it, and I don't know if it's true, you know, not everything you hear or see on the internet is, right? But I've heard that the ports for the fuel injectors in the Jeep Gladiator are smaller. The diameter is narrower, if you will. Now, it kind of makes sense to me, because if that's true, it would mean that even smaller particles that may not be filtered out through the fuel system could get through and clog up or reduce even further the diameter of those ports in the fuel injectors. Put in some fuel cleaner, cleans them right out, no more problems. Intuitively, it just makes sense to me. Who knows? I don't know if it's a fake rumor or not, but it makes sense. Other than that, no problems. I've had no check engine lights, no auxiliary battery problems, you know, the dreaded auxiliary battery. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Big pothole in the road I managed to hit. Thank goodness for the bigger, more aggressive tires, right? Anyway, let's get to the third. This is not mine. I've never owned this one. This is Randall's Jeep Gladiator. He experienced an auxiliary battery problem. It seemed to not be holding charge. Every once in a while, when he would start the vehicle up, his auxiliary switches were not functional because he got a message stating that the battery needed to be charged or something. The auxiliary battery was not working or not up to charge. So we went ahead, he and I, and we replaced, mostly he, I was the hand in that, but we replaced that auxiliary battery. Not one of the funnest projects to do. I mean, ideally, you would pop the tire off. We had a lug nut problem, so we couldn't. We actually broke the socket. But anyway, you would pop the tire off, remove the inner fender liner, and then you'd have access to the tray that's underneath. And the way that it works, there's a couple, I think there's 3 bolts maybe underneath you have to remove. The tray with the battery in it drops. You remove the wiring, put the new battery in, fish it back up through there, tighten the bolts back down. There's a whole video on it on the channel. If you want to know, just get on the channel and look. We did it a few weeks ago. Wasn't too difficult to do. I think it cost him around, I think it was $70 or something like that. I could be wrong. It's in that video for that battery. Now, he decided to go ahead and replace both because if one was going bad, why not replace the main battery at the same time? Then you're covered, right? So we did that job. It'd been a few weeks, I think, or a couple, 3 weeks since we'd done it. He took a trip in the truck and everything seemed to be fine. Everything's working, no more error messages, nothing like that. So I'm hoping that maybe it was just and I know it's not true, but wishful thinking, but that it's just a bad auxiliary battery that the dealer, the manufacturer, Jeep puts into it, and maybe by going with an aftermarket, in essence, he won't have that problem again, at least not for quite a while, because it was about 3 years or so since he bought that truck, knew that he had to replace that battery. Time will tell. So anyway, in the long run, how is the Gladiator doing? In my experience with it, there are some annoying quirks. The auxiliary battery is a definite problem that should not be happening. But otherwise, it's been great. None of those things would be enough for me to not rebuy or have another Jeep Gladiator. I love the truck. I love the modability of it, the looks of it, the power of it. It's just an awesome truck. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know. If you've had other issues with your Jeep Gladiator, things that you've experienced, I'd be curious. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.